Hey Married at First Sight fans, welcome back to the channel. So today we're doing a review for season 15. This is going to be for episode 8. So this is the episode where all the couples, friends, came over. They had a party. They had to set it up. They had to plan it together. They had to test their teamwork, their cooperation skills as a married husband and wife and put it to tests. And then they got interviewed by the friends and they got to get additional information about them. So the first thing I want to say is I love the friends. I feel like they all have great friends, or whoever the friends were that arrived at the parties, they all gave great advice. So props to that. It just goes to show, like, we have no problem with giving good advice, right? Even here on this channel, right? We have no problem with giving good advice and maybe even listening to it, but actually applying it is the hardest thing. So we all have to be realistic and I think take it easy on ourselves and understand that, hey, it's not going to be easy all the time, you know? Okay, so this episode was interesting. It was kind of like there were some really fun parts and I'm going to talk about all of them shortly. So as per usual, I'm going to be going off of the order from the website and talking about each of the couples, starting with Lindsey and Miguel. All right, so Lindsey and Miguel, they're cute together. They enjoy each other. Lindsey appreciates Miguel's quirks, and Miguel likes Lindsey's. He keeps calling her, like, you know, she's a great wife. She has these great qualities about her, and Lindsey's admitted that it's the same for him too. Like, she feels the same for him too. He has a lot of great qualities as a partner. So the big conflict, let's dive right in and talk about what the big conflict was she argued that she wanted to be put on his health insurance, but his argument was, if you want health insurance, then you have to take my last name. That's his stipulation, essentially. And she's, you know, it made her really defensive and upset. So who's right? Who's wrong? I don't know. I just know that Lindsey's response to the emotional response to the situation did not make me feel good. And I'm all about listening to my intuitions. It's not about feelings. It's about feelings that lead you to clarity when you dissect them a little bit. Not necessarily analyze, but just like feel it. Does it like make you close up or open up? And it'll just give you a clue into what's going on. And for Lindsey, for me, her telling Miguel, first of all, I was really confused. I'm like, she doesn't have health insurance. I'm a little confused. She's a doctor or in the medical field, but she doesn't have health insurance. That's interesting, I gotta say, because I'm like, I would never, I don't know. I know some people really have issues with health insurance, but as far as I'm concerned, that is that's top priority, especially if your health is like up and down. That's something I just feel like practically you want to make sure you take care of. That shouldn't be something that you gamble with. It's your health insurance. And the other point I'm going to add to that is don't put yourself in a position where someone has to, like someone's relationship or whatever, you're depending on someone else for health insurance. Okay? This is just, I don't know. I would never put myself in a position where I had to depend on someone else for health insurance when I feel like that is my vital survival thing that I need to take care of for myself. So that kind of bothered me. Okay, so they get along really well together, but there's like a couple of issues that are showing up in their relationship. That was one of them, right? I don't know why. So I feel like, here's the thing. This is his thing, is he wants her to take his last name. And she's like, but I don't even know you, but you want the health insurance. So it is really confusing to me. I feel like she's making it more confusing. In fact, the more Lindsey talks, the more confused I feel often, because I feel like she makes things out to be bigger than they are. I think a last name is easy to change. It might mean a big deal to you, but health insurance is also a big deal. And remember from like past seasons, there was someone, I don't remember her name, who was also kind of unstable, who wanted to be put on his health insurance. I don't know if she ended up being put on there, but she was arguing about that as well. I understand if you're married, but I'm like, okay, if you're married and he should put you on his health insurance, he's saying that it's important for you to take his last name. So I feel like there needs to be a compromise there. You know, you both want something like an exchange, and I think that's fine. But learn how to compromise and have those conversations, and most definitely learn how to have calm conversations, because she was raising her voice, she was getting upset. He was holding her hand, he didn't raise his voice at all. He's a very chill, mellow guy. I really like his temperament in that sense. especially when it comes to arguments, he handles himself great. But when it comes to her handling it, that girl is all over the place. So the second thing that that came up during the party. They were in bed having that conversation, by the way. During the party, she was like, he won't put me on his health insurance. And she's basically blasting him. And his friend's argument was like, hey, he's still getting to know you. He needs to see if this is going to work out. Him taking responsibility for your health, that's on him, right? It's an obligation. It ties him to you. And I would have to say, yeah, it's actually a little bit more risky than a last name. I'm like, last name you can change, but health insurance, I don't know. That might be a little bit different because they're taking more responsibility of you. So, the way that Lindy is handling things emotionally, to me, there's a lot of immaturity. There's a lot of growth that needs to be had. And I don't know what her learning was, growing up. Her upbringing was when it came to emotional control, but it just seems to not be there. The emotional maturity still needs to be developed. And it's either you are going to experience this growing pain with her, as Miguel, he's going to have to experience this growing pain with her, or she's going to have to change or shift this or become self-aware of this because she has this beautiful, sweet side to her, but just like is previewed into the next episode, she has this other side to her that, like Miguel says, I don't like this side to you. So, and she's like, well, these are the parts of me that you're going to have to accept. And she's absolutely right. When people start showing you who they are, believe them and really take that for face value, and really start to say, oh my gosh, do I want to deal with this? So yeah, I think he would really have to think about that. Is he willing to deal with this and handle this? But I just feel like she needs to mature a lot, before she actually settles down in a partnership, because partnerships, they put that much more pressure on you. And it's so easy to project onto your partner and just be like, well, you're the one making me feel this way, because in a way they are making you feel that way, but that's because they're like this ultimate, the supreme mirror. So they're reflecting all of your biggest insecurities. Unfortunately, they're just all going to come out because they're right there with you in the experience, and they're going to let you know. And you don't want to heightened fear in a partnership, because then the trust is going to be broken. You don't want to get to the point where you are so in the defensive and you're criticizing your partner and you're bringing your partner down so much that you start to confuse them and really break down the trust and the confidence in their ability to communicate to you. So just be careful of that. Communicator, but definitely it's not that she's over communicating, it's the way that you communicate. You want to be effective, and the emotional control is just missing there for me. Miguel, I think he's handling things well, but I think he's just gonna have to be quite frank, I feel like he's gonna have to be more strategic in the way he deals with Lindy. And just be more direct about, okay, I don't like this isn't gonna work for me. We're gonna have to either find a way to mend this or like work through this, and I need to see that you're putting in the work, like go to therapy or something, or this can't work. I would just like straight up, I would just let her know right then and there. It's not a ultimatum. It's just like, no, I'm not going to deal with this. And I just met you. If we were dating, it would be different. We have a beautiful connection, but quite frankly, without the stable foundation of emotional control, this isn't going to work for me. So he should just communicate very directly to her and just be a lot more strategic about like, okay, like how am I going to work or communicate this to her? That's all I'm feeling about them. I wish them good luck, but it's not looking too good for them. There are some key things that are missing in order to stabilize their relationship. So let's move on to Kristin and Mitch. Now, Kristin and Mitch, you know why I like Kristin and Mitch? I want Kristin and Mitch to create a sitcom. That's why I like Kristin and Mitch. They need to create a sitcom because the dynamic of the two of them, this worldly woman of worldly desires and this environmentalist together, it's just a comedy is what it is. It's a comedy. Like, someone please write the script for the show. I would watch it. I could just imagine like Kristin, like let's say she has kids, like she stays with this guy, or she has a character. Okay, I'm creating a sitcom in my head. She's a character, she has kids, and she's like, hey kids, don't tell your dad that we had plastic cups today. Like, I can just imagine her be like, don't tell your dad. Because Mitch is just, he's a unicorn, okay? It's too much. It's too much, okay? He's just like, well, I shouldn't be making her do all that. I like that Mitch embraces this part of himself, but I'm like, you gotta go easy on the girl. You gotta go easy on my girl. And please take that like, I don't know, find a way to ease up on that and educate yourself. It just feels like an episode of Wife Swap. You know, like this is the last environment you'd find yourself in, and you're just like, oh my gosh, where am I and what is going on? But Kristen's face all the time, every time Mitch is talking, it always feels like that. All right, so moving on to more serious parts. By the way, their party was so fun. I mean, I wish Kristen had more of a part in it. Again, you know what's the irony is she's very assertive, but she's very passive in certain ways, and she overcompensates because she's like, I want to make people comfortable. And Mitch is taking full advantage of that girl, and men most definitely will. They will take advantage if you let them. So you got to reassert the boundaries. She said, I'm reasserting the boundaries, but this is actually one of those areas you need to reassert the boundaries. So she bought the fancy cups for him. She went to his store. It's just too much. You know, it's too much. Just start being you. Start being you. Start being yourself. And just show him. Because I'm like, if you show him right away and he expresses his discomfort right away, we can get past this and be like, okay, we can't work out. You know, this isn't going to work. If you're overcompensating, you're going to marry into or develop a relationship that's built on falseness. You know, something that's not your true authentic self. So just right away, just be yourself, and show people those parts of yourself that aren't so great as well, like Lindy was talking about, but she's taking it to the next level. So yeah, Kristen's great. She's very accepting. I forgot to talk about how Kristin and Mitch consummated their marriage. So they consummated their marriage. They're adults. They're happily doing that and partaking in that situation. And I think that's what's bonding them, honestly, because sex it's an energy exchange. It's a big deal. You know, people don't really understand. It's an energy exchange. So it's like when you continue that and you're living with a person and you're bonding, it's just your energies start to sync with one another. So that's what's going on with them. That's why these two people who couldn't be more different in certain ways are merging very well. What's great about them is they're good people. That's why they're working this, you know, putting in the effort, is they're good people and they're putting in an honest effort. But I think Kristin needs to put in a much more direct, honest effort with herself and presenting herself as she truly is. Okay, so Kristin told Mitch about her relationship ending, her previous engagement. She talked about how they were together for 6 years. So her and her previous fiance were together for 6 years. She spent her life savings on this wedding, couldn't get her money back, so she decided, hey, let's make this my moment in life. Mitch's comment was, oh, that's weird. And she's like, it's not weird. But he was very supportive. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you. She said that when she had expressed that to prior people in previous relationships or connections, they didn't take it very well. You know, they were very judgmental of her, whereas he wasn't. Because I don't think, I think he has a good heart. Like, that's not where the issue is. It's like the other things that need work. So they were able to move past that. I don't know. I just want them to be friends. It's like marriage. I don't know if this is going to work, guys. I don't know. But I like seeing the two of them together. I like the dynamic between the two of them. It feels like a sitcom. But life isn't a sitcom, right? Life is real and marriage is real. I don't think there's anything else to add about between the two of them. I just think she's doing too much. It's like the same as previous episodes. She's doing too much. She's letting him take over too much. He's taking full advantage of it because he can, and he just has such a strong personality, but she needs to reassert the boundaries as far as what she's here to do. And for women, that's very important. It's very important for you to assert yourself and to be very expressive in yourself, because we're naturally very giving and empathic. And very caring and nurturing beings. So it's like, we're gonna give, duh. But it's like when you're overdoing it, they will take full advantage of it. Men go into conserve energy mode. And, you know, if you offer to clean the kitchen, feed the kids, pay the bills, and you're like, oh, no, I want to do it because I care about you. He'll be like, oh, okay. Because he's in conserve energy mode. Is there anything else that came up? I don't know. I like their costumes. I thought they were having a lot of fun. Did they talk to each other's friends? I don't even remember that. Well, Mitch talked about how he was so happy and relieved to not have a wife who snores, but now he has a dog who snores, and the dog is can be a bit much. And Kristin just noted that she needed to assert herself more. So I just want to see if she's going to do that. Other than that, there's nothing else to say about Chris and Mitch. Moving on to Alexis and Justin. Alexis and Justin are stuck. They're very stuck because they can't get past, well, Alexis specifically can't get past the situation. Now, I think Justin is trying to handle it as best as he can. They had that big blow up, that argument caught on the camera, where apparently there's another situation that happened with her dog. He didn't think it was bad enough or relevant enough for him to have to say something to her. So they both have different perspectives about the situation with the dog, right? He didn't think it was a big deal. She thinks it's a very big deal. To me, she's using an excuse, right? So three proposals, but none of them an engagement, right? 3 proposals, no engagements. And so what's duly noted, what I've heard on other channels, is that Alexis is a runner. I was honestly, when someone's going around saying, hey, I've been proposed to 3 times, I'm just like, that doesn't tell me anything about you, but it gave me a little something, okay? And now I'm starting to feel it again. I think Alexis has a really great personality, really nice energy, but her, bringing up that conversation and their business amongst her friends at that party like that, not mature. That is not mature. You do not bring up your stuff. I know she told Justin, but you do not. I don't care what you're feeling. To me, that just showed her immaturity. She's stuck. It's like she's not aware of it. I'm getting, because sometimes people put up walls and they don't realize they're putting up a wall. They're trying to protect themselves. They put up walls and they say, well, I'm just asserting boundaries. But it's not boundaries. Boundaries are when you're not safe, right? This, you're making up, you're creating the experience, you're creating the problem that doesn't exist, you're blowing it up out of proportion because you're afraid. So that's what I'm feeling from Alexis. I feel like she's very scared. This is getting real. As soon as they got home, she held on to the first conflict that she could, and she's running. And Justin, I think he's handling it as best as he can, but he's sensitive. So sensitive means sometimes you might say things impulsively, right? Because you're caught up in your emotions. He's very sensitive. Now he has, I think he's thoughtful. I think for his age, he's doing great. Like, he's mature. I think he thinks things through. I think he most definitely tries to be emotionally intelligent as he can. But sometimes he does get impulsive, or he does say things that are not so great. And we've seen a couple of times now where he's lost his temper, one with his brother and then this time with Alexis. I think Alexis has a better temperament, but her maturity is very much not there. So yeah, it's kind of disappointing. Like, things seem to be falling apart at the seams. And Alexis says, oh, I'll give him a chance, da-da-da-da-da. But again, as soon as the next conflict turns up, she wants to run away, As soon as the situation happened with her dog, she was back at her house. She wasn't living in the apartment with him. So yeah, I mean, it's disappointing, but I let go of my disappointment like last week when I was just like, oh, that sucks. But now I'm just like, oh, okay, you make bad decisions, you get bad results. Just saying. And when you want to mature, when you want to grow into your experiences, when you want to make better choices, you get better and a better outcome for yourself. So it's just up to you to decide. You want to grow. Maturity is a choice, not an age. Yeah. Okay, so what's the best solution is, I don't know. I know it's her. It's a lot of her doing, Alexis, because when she starts to talk, I get a little bit confused inside. So I always know based off of my feelings, okay, something's off here. And I get that off feeling when Alexis is talking. Like, the energy is just not flowing for me, because I think the main thought that came to me is that it's very dangerous sometimes when someone believes, like, they're convinced that they are right when they are so not right. And that's what I get for Alexis. Like, well, he needs to tell the truth. Why is he going around manipulating? And she calls it manipulation. And he was vague. He was vague. Maybe Justin is a vague person. What I love what Stasia said. Stasia is like, sometimes I don't think about things until later. Sometimes I don't think about all the details or expressing something to someone. And he's just getting to know you. So it's like, give the guy a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance. You guys are just learning each other. You don't really know him. Right? She's like, oh, when she's having that conversation with her sister and talking about love, she was saying that, oh, he's just really lovable. I'm not in love with him though. So I'm like, oh, you're not even in love with him? So like what like what was the love? Um wow, she really gets lost in her fantasy world. I think for sure. She gets lost in her fantasy, her feelings. Um her and Justin were in fairy tale land. And I think Justin is very, very much sincere and ready for love. Like he's ready to be vulnerable in that sense. But is she? You know, only time will tell. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Stasia and Nate. Stasia and Nate are doing fine. I think they're doing fine. So they planned their party. I thought they looked so cute with their afros. I thought it was so cute. Nate was putting in the effort to help her with the party planning. So Nate's thing, he's recognized Stasia as vulnerable. She wants more vulnerability from him. I love the conversation he had with his friend where he was like, well, maybe I need to go to therapy and figure out how to express my emotions better. That was a very mature conversation. Let's just see him take the action and see where things go. Stasia's thing is she's ready to have kids. She's very good at expressing herself. She honestly looks like she's just really into Nate. And so I feel like she's seeing past the flaws or the silliness, but she does need that extra bit of vulnerability to really develop feelings and fall in love and, move on to the physical intimacy in their partnership. So I think she's doing great. She's a grown woman. I'm getting grown woman vibes from Stasia. She can handle herself. It's just a matter of recognizing, because I do get a little bit of immaturity from Nate. Just like, it's like underdeveloped. He's still growing into things. And he recognized that. He's like, well, I have to learn how to express my emotions better and all these things. So she's just more mature in that sense. And I hope she has the patience to work with him. That's just my thing. And I hope he has the patience to just be there and be supportive of her. So, yeah. I like the two of them together. I want to see them last. And I want to see that he is genuine and he has all those beautiful layers to him. But yeah, sometimes emotions can be a real blockage, and vulnerability and the inability to create vulnerability or that deep connection will really spell the end of a connection relationship, because the number one reason why we get into partnerships, whether we realize it or not, is for deep intimacy. Deep intimacy. Into me you see. Not physical intimacy. We get it for the emotional intimacy. We want to feel loved. We want to feel connected to someone. So it's like without that, things are just missing. But she's enjoying it. I do sense that Nate is holding back. I think he's holding back. I think he's just it's on the surface, but it feels young. The energy just feels young around him. It doesn't feel like he's intentionally trying to hold back or trying to block off, those emotions. It's just that he's blocked. It's blocked internally. So he's going to have a hard time accessing that. Again, my suggestion last week was like, there are cards on Amazon you can buy. Car was driving by. So there are like things you can do, like couple cards. There are games you can play where you start to get into these conversations about vulnerability that are more fun, without it being like super serious and like therapy and, all those things. So there are ways to like break the ice when it comes to that emotional intimacy. Okay, so yeah, I wish the best for the two of them. They're really cute together. Let's go ahead and finish off with our last wow. Let's go ahead and finish with our last couple, Morgan and Ben. So Morgan and Ben are still stuck. They're still stuck. So Ben, I think he's really trying. But Morgan's got her walls up. Even her friend, she was having a conversation with her friend, and even her friend was like, I think you just need to let the walls down and just move forward. And she's like, but that's really hard. Don't come on this show. And most definitely let them know where you're at. Because to be honest, this is me. If I knew I couldn't open up and I couldn't be vulnerable and I couldn't let someone in, I would just have to break up with them. I would just be like, it's got to be a done so, because I'm going to hurt you. I don't know where she's at. I think she's been very direct with him and been like, her walls are up. But I don't know. I just feel for him. I really do. I feel for him, and I really get frustrated sometimes when women do this in partnerships, when they're like, I'm protecting myself because I know you need to protect yourself, but it's like you're kind of hurting him too by putting all these walls up. So I really feel for that. I've seen so many couples where women just, they have a tendency to self-sabotage, and and their partner is like there and he wants to support her and he wants to give, but they just can't get on the same page. And I just feel for him. So yeah, my thing is just let him know where you're at so you don't break his heart. And don't be confused. Like, this is another thing. It's like sometimes people don't know they're being confusing. Like Lindy, I don't think she knows how confusing she is. I don't think Alexis knows how confusing she is. And I don't think Morgan knows how confusing she is. And this is kind of like the thing with women. And this is why it is important to go to therapy and to develop emotional control and to emotionally mature, because you're an emotional powerhouse. So he's kind of, your divine masculine counterpart is looking to you for that home, that safety. And if you don't have that down pack, it's like, blah, blah, blah. The house is going to continue to crumble over and over, unfortunately. And it's going to create a lot of dysfunction among your partnership, among your kids, if you have kids in the future. So it can be really heartbreaking to watch and be a part of. So with Morgan, so she's having a hard time letting the walls down. The thing is, her walls are very up, because here's the thing. When I know that people, they're like, oh, but my walls are up and I need it. Like when someone justifies, so much, like Morgan and Lindy, when they justify their protection, justify protecting themselves so much, that's when I know their self-awareness is just not there. And that takes a minute to gain. It takes repetitive therapy sessions. It takes repetitive practice. It takes repetitive journaling for you to be aware of that. She's like, I know I got these walls up, but she keeps justifying it. Her instinct is to justify it. Her instinct is to look for all the things that are wrong with him. I don't know. It looked like in the preview for the next episode, he did something else wrong. I don't know if that's Morgan creating something, but the thing is, she's creating drama. And I always look for when people create drama, because I know when someone creates drama, drama follows you wherever you go. So I'm like, drama only follows you wherever you go. And look, we are very dramatic creatures, don't get us wrong, but I'm like, pour that drama into your dance, your creative energy, pour that drama into enjoying movies and art. Don't pour it into your relationships, okay? Because relationships cannot survive without stability. You put drama into your relationships, they're not so fun anymore. It's not a Shakespearean play. We like to watch the Shakespearean play. We don't want to be in it. So with Morgan, so long she continues to create that cycle and she has her walls up, then she keeps justifying it. Like, oh, but I have my walls up. And I'm like, but you don't even know him. Like, you want so badly to be desired, but you won't even let yourself be desired. So that's kind of problematic. Even Ben was like, oh, she's beautiful, she's a good person, but she's all like, he won't even see that I'm a good person. Like, I'm just confused. And he's confused too. He's like, okay, you told Pastor Cal you want me to be intimate with you, but then when I try, you pushed me away. But yes, I would have to agree, it is very confusing, and women can be very confusing because we work like this. Look, I understand. We work like this. Our minds, our energy, it works like this, okay? Whereas men, it's like that. It's compartments. But women, we're wires, okay? We're wires. And it can be confusing. That's why you do the work. You do the inner work. Yeah, I think Ben is trying. I think he's doing his best. There really is nothing else to be said about him. There's probably some maturing that needs to happen, but he's an overall, his presence to me feels overall positive and like he means well. So I'm like, I want to see him do husband, but Morgan won't let him. So I don't know if we're going to see this couple make it past the next few weeks. Okay, so let's just go ahead and end the review there. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know down below what you're thinking, what you're experiencing, how you're feeling. And subscribe to support the channel. I'll be back next week for another review.